Welcome to episode 2 of the Dose of Dopeness podcast. I'm Drew. Today, Chris and I talk about the NBA Finals. We discuss the Spurs hoisting their 5th banner, the Heat collapsing in embarrassing fashion, and what we think the futures of the two teams looks like. We also get to talk a little bit about the World Cup, Carmelo Anthony, what he's going to be doing this offseason, and the Game of Thrones wrapping up its 4th season. Chris will also give us the top 5 storylines to look forward to in the NBA offseason now that the season is over. Also, very special guest on the show this week, ex-Vice President Dick Chaney is here to discuss the escalating conflict in Iraq. He's actually in the waiting room right now, throwing back prune juices like a retiree who's given up. So I hope he will be conscious for... He'll be all right. And as always, remember to follow us on Twitter at DOD Podcast 1. That is at DOD Podcast 1. Don't forget the 1. And of course, our WordPress is dodpodcast.wordpress.com. All right, let's get to the show.
Hit me with the horn, 20. Keep making noise. Keep making noise. Yeah.
What a great series, man. It's over, unfortunately. Season's over. No more hoops for a while now. You bummed?
I know. Yeah, I'm a little bummed. I was thinking that while I was watching it. No more NBA till October.
There's like 300 baseball games left per team, so we could switch to baseball if we need to. But no more hoops for a bit, but it was a great season, great finish. It was awesome to see the Spurs win their 5th title since, 99?
Yeah, 5th overall, too, I think.
Yeah, the series was a little more dominant than you kind of hope for as a fan. Like, you want closer games, of course, but they were still incredibly entertaining just because the Spurs are a different brand of basketball. You just don't get to see that the teammanship and the teamwork and how all that passing and everything and just the way that they spread the wealth. You don't see that very often.
Yeah. And it proved to be the kryptonite of the not only Miami's big three, but probably of any kind of big three dynamic, you know?
Definitely, because they took down the Thunder, too, with it.
Yeah, and I think they're good across the board, and they're able to take advantage of terrible point guard play, and that the fact that the Heat have no post presence.
Yeah.
So they showed the league that even though Miami's won the last 2 titles, there are other ways to win outside of signing 3 of the top 20 players in the league.
That's a good point, and it's I don't know, it's weird. They've won 5 titles, and Tim Duncan's one of the best players at his position, or of any position of all time. Pop might be the best coach of all time, but for some reason it still has like that feel-good story feeling to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like these guys are so overqualified for that, but you still just feel good that they won just because they do it right. Everybody on their team, it just seems like a good person. In all their interviews, they're humble and they're good guys, and it's just... Not that the Heat aren't, but the Spurs definitely are. So exciting to win. And then you get Kawhi Leonard winning the MVP, which was just, if someone would have told me that Kawhi Leonard won the MVP at the beginning of the season, I would have laughed in their face.
I mean, it would have been more believable than Danny Green, which we were on pace for last season. But especially after the first 2 games, Kawhi had 9 points in each of the first 2 games, and then he just exploded. I mean, LeBron had a great series, but Kawhi outplayed LeBron in the final 3 games, I thought.
Yeah, and just saying that holds so much weight. Just that sentence that you just said. And really, even though that team was such a full team effort, top to bottom, really, Kawhi was the guy who had to win it. There was nobody else on the team who really deserved it as much as he did. He, truly deserved it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I remember thinking last night as the game was wrapping up that Kawhi... without even looking at statistics or anything, just in your, the eye test. I think, yeah, of course Kawhi's going to win this. Although I would assume if you look at the box scores that Duncan probably had a great series. I know his first 2 games he had some pretty big double-doubles. But the obvious shift in momentum, right? The first game was close until the cramps. The second game was close, and the Heat won. And those were the 2 games that Kawhi played poorly. When he played well, it wasn't even close.
Oh, yeah.
They just ran away with it.
In those last 3 games, there was probably 9 or 10 quarters where the game was already over. It was,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
if from an entertainment standpoint is kind of lame, but it's still a good series. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I looked forward to every game, and I watched them all the way through, because there was always that chance that LeBron's going to make a huge comeback, even though it never happened. But Kawhi wins it. I think you could have made an argument for Boris Diaw, as weird as that sounds. I think it's way unrealistic, but I think he's one of those like cogs that really makes the team work. Of course, you could have made the argument for Parker or Duncan, or Ginobili, of course, but Kawhi, definitely the most deserving.
Yep.
And it's weird. I was going to say, he's the first MVP. Almost every single year, it's clear cut. You know who's going to win. Like before the series starts, it's like if the Heat win, LeBron's going to win the MVP.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like that every year. And the last time I remember it being an actual debate where you weren't positive who was going to win going into the end was in 2004 when Chauncey Billups won the MVP. I watched a lot of that because I'm a Pistons fan.
And that was more about the fact that it was such a, like this year, that it was such a team-dominant win. You know, anyone on the starting lineup could have been the MVP. Ben Wallace could have been the MVP because of what he did defensively. And they were also even across the board, just like the Spurs team, you know, that it's hard to just pick one out. Yeah, I don't really remember. Why did Chauncey win that? Was it for kind of clutch? I mean, he had a lot of points.
He had some I mean, his nickname was Mr. Big Shot, and that's kind of when they started calling him Mr. Big Shot, was in that little span. So, yeah, he was the guy who we went to late in games. He was always there to take the big shot, if not also hit it. And he just kind of ran our offense more than anyone else.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like you said, it could have gone to Ben Wallace easily. Ben Wallace, to me, was more of a backbone to that team. But he doesn't put up the flashy numbers, and, you know, most of his stuff was done, like, in the trenches and not out in the open like Chauncey Billups.
So just like Boris Diaw?
Yes. He was a defensive version of Boris Diaw.
Boris?
We don't want to spend all podcast talking about how good the Spurs were. I mean, it was obvious. They whomped them. They crushed them from beginning to end.
Yeah.
In a lot of those games. So really, it's just what happens next. What are the Spurs going to do?
Well, I think they need to they need to keep whatever they're doing. They need to keep doing it in terms of their offensive game plan. I would definitely start. I mean, I think Kawhi Leonard, obviously, he's had kind of two breakout finals now. One of the things that makes him so good is he plays within his own game. So I wouldn't go so far as to say you need to like build an offense around Kawhi Leonard, but I think you need to make sure that he is kind of the guy as you transition out of the Duncan era. Obviously, Tony Parker, it's still going to be his team as the captain and whatnot, but Kawhi is your guy who you're going to ask to guard LeBron and Kevin Durant and Carmelo Anthony, basically all the good wings in the league. And he's going to be the guy that you are going to pay the big money to. And I think you just need to kind of move forward with a Kawhi-centered focus, if that makes sense, and get guys that will kind of help him play the best that he can while also staying within that system.
Yeah, they like do the things that he can't.
Right.
I'm nervous about a Kawhi-centered team, Kawhi-centered Spurs team. And I can't tell if it's because thinking about any Spurs team post Duncan is just weird. Like not having Duncan on that team is just almost unfathomable. Or if I'm worried about that, or if I'm worried about, I don't know if Kawhi can do it. But then you made a good comparison, is that the Pacers are building around Paul George. And I think you can make the argument that Kawhi's just as good as Paul George.
Right. And they have almost identical games, especially now that Kawhi seems to be able to shoot threes.
Out of nowhere, just stroking threes.
That shot last night, that spurred kind of the big break that ended it, where he just pulled up on the fast break.
Yep.
It's money. Not even a second thought.
But yeah, they'll have to build around Splitter. Do you think Duncan's going to come back? Because I'm pretty sure Duncan, this next year, he has a player option. So he's under I don't really know how you word that. I don't know if it's considered under contract or not, but there's a chance that he could just decline his player option and retire. I mean, if anybody is going to retire after winning a championship and retire on top, it'd be Tim Duncan. He does everything perfectly.
And that's what I thought. I thought as a fan, it's easy to be like, oh, you know, take the final ring and go out on top, but it's easier said than done. A lot of those guys end up coming back and playing a few years. I mean, he clearly looks like he has plenty in the tank, especially when he's sitting for 20-plus games a year.
Yeah, they know how to rest him.
Yeah, they just have it all figured out, in a very Spurs-like fashion. And he could come back, I think, and be that effective for another 2 years if he wanted to. But like you said, if he wants that perfect sports narrative that he seems to embody, he would probably leave now. Right?
He not only he embodies it without even trying, because he doesn't give a shit about it. So you can guarantee that he doesn't care.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. It was perfect to leave on top. Huh? Never thought about that. He just it just does it perfectly.
He walks out onto some water. He's like, "Oh, I'm heading over to the Virgin Islands to visit my family. What were you saying? Oh, I'm perfect."
And swims off into the horizon into a sunset.
Yeah, he just starts riding a dolphin. It's like, what is this guy's thing? What's going on?
He's so perfect. But there's a chance he might not come back. If he doesn't come back, there's a huge chance Pop leaves too. And that's really what I'm most worried about, is just once Pop is gone. You could make the argument that more than anyone else, they build around Pop.
I think, yeah, you could. I mean, him and Duncan have been that franchise since 98 or whatever it was, 97 or 98. Although the counter to that is that Pop has had a lot of successful coaches leave. I mean, you're witnessing it firsthand in Atlanta, that system can be implemented by another guy who's been around Pop for a long time. The only thing they would be missing there is Pop's kind of aura and his ability to rally the troops. But in terms of continuing out his system, I think it's possible.
Yeah, next year then, we'll find out in the next few weeks probably if Duncan's coming back. Duncan doesn't seem like a guy who would drag out that decision. Other than that, Bonner comes off the books. They're going to let him go for sure because he's making about $4 million a year. Diaw is coming off the books, and so is Patty Mills. I think they bring back Diaw because honestly, I don't think any other team would sign Diaw. He actually has a bad rep. Not bad rep, but when he's on bad teams, he has a reputation of kind of mailing it in. Like he did with Charlotte before, and I just don't think he fits in as well with any other team that he does with the Spurs. So I think he'll stay. But then Patty Mills is interesting because, like you told me, or you made the point earlier, was he hasn't gotten paid yet, and he might want to leave just to get that money, just to get his.
Right. He's got that Lance Stevenson haven't got paid yet mentality, where obviously he's a great fit where he is, but he has nothing to fall back on. He literally has gotten paid the minimum, which is still a lot of money, but it is the minimum for an NBA player. And for him, it's way more important to take the money than stay with the team.
And it's 100% understandable, too. With athletes who
right.
have...
You can't knock him for that.
Yeah, they have limited time to earn their money in their career. Mm-hmm. You can't knock a guy who's going to possibly get a contract that's 4 or 5 times bigger than his current contract. And if the Spurs don't match it, you can't blame them for going to get it.
Yeah. And now we talked, like you said, we talked about this earlier. Since then, I just thought, actually, Parker has been hurt quite a bit the past several years, just nicked up a lot. His style of play, he's getting older. I wonder if the Spurs wouldn't offer, because I was saying that Patty Mills could maybe get 5-6 mil somewhere, and just assuming the Spurs wouldn't match that. But if they have 10 mil to play with, and you're just talking about Diaw and Mills, I mean, do you think they might consider that?
I definitely think they would, for sure. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they paid him that anyways, because with Bonner coming off, that takes out about $4 million.
Mm-hmm.
Just throw all of that at Patty Mills. Patty Mills has stepped up when Parker's gone down on numerous occasions. He's shown that he can hit big shots in the playoffs. He's a quality locker room guy. He's a good presence on the bench. He loves winning and he loves his teammates. He really fits in on the Spurs. Like, I would not be surprised if they quote unquote overpaid him a little just to keep him there, just like they did with Thiago Splitter. Is Thiago Splitter a $9 million player? No. Was anybody in the league going to give Thiago Splitter $9 million? No. What the Spurs did. It's a little different with big guys, but the same could be said about Patty Mills.
Yeah, I guess it would just all come down to, the Spurs are known for, crazy international scouting. So if they had a guy that they were keying in on in the draft possibly, and they thought that they could turn, they found Patty Mills,
Mm-hmm.
He was in Portland for a while, didn't do anything, and they brought him in. If they think they can do that again for a minimum contract, and they're willing to take that risk, I think they would do that.
You saying let Mills go?
Again, if they have a guy, because they need a backup point guard, the way that Tony Parker has been the past several years. So It would just be if they don't feel confident in a guy they've been scouting or someone in the D League that they've had their eye on. I think they would just like they did with Splitter. They would write the check and give him a bigger role even.
They also have Corey Joseph behind him too, and I know Corey Joseph didn't get a whole lot of run in the finals and later in the playoffs, but neither did Mills last year.
Yeah, actually, it was Joseph last year. Joseph last year was the guy who played more than Mills.
Yeah.
And he just had some boneheaded plays.
True, he's a heck of an athlete, but
yeah,
I think they'll keep Mills. What about the team that got smashed here? The Heat have basically nobody under contract next year. Shane Battier retired, so you can pour out a little skim milk for Shane Battier. Chris Anderson opted out. He's going to be a free agent.
Yep,
they're all gone. Every single role player is off contract, off the books, and the top three all have player options. There's a reality where nobody is on this team again. Like, the entire team is different. It's shocking.
So basically, they might have a starting lineup of Patty Mills, Lance Stevenson, Chandler Parsons.
Oh, yeah. It could just... There's no predicting right now. I feel like there would be no Vegas odds on it right now. Vegas is just waiting. Like, they don't have the balls to throw out an odds right now because they could be completely different. I think D. Wade takes his player option because nobody in their right mind is going to pay him $20 million.
Yep.
So he's going to opt in the next 2 years. He has player options the next 2 years. But I'm not sure about Chris Bosh or LeBron James. What do you think?
I think you're right about Wade. I think he opts in. It's his last payday of any substantial amount.
What about if he gets a huge deal from those blue towels that he reps? He could be there if those things blow up. Maybe that's another payday. We don't know. He could rep those for years.
The fact that I don't even know what you're talking about should be proof that that is not something to lean on.
He's the spokesperson for these like towels where you snap them and they somehow like become cold. It's science. I don't understand it.
Is it in Japan?
No, they're in America. I'm pretty sure Serena or Venus Williams is also a spokesperson.
Okay.
They don't make sense to me. There's no way that towel works. I think it's just a towel.
It sounds like a towel infused with whatever is in those ice packs you crush up that instantly become cold. It's like, I could have done that. Anyways, I think Wade opts in. I think they bring back either Cole or Chalmers, probably Cole, but not both. I think that...
I think Chalmers is going. I think he's gone for sure.
Yeah, he's going. You were saying earlier that Bosh is the kind of guy who will take less money to win. So I think he could take less money if Wade and LeBron stay. I think Bosh might be the guy willing to say, you know what, I'll take a pay cut if we can bring in another guy. Not like a Carmelo guy, but like a solid, just role player.
I won't entertain the thought that Melo goes to the Heat. That would very much upset me.
Well, they'd all have to take a pay cut by almost $10 million, including Carmelo, which he's not going to take the pay cut. Come on. And like we're saying now, Wade's not going to take the pay cut. That's what I'm thinking. I honestly think something big is going to happen. It's not just going to be like, oh, we're all going to take our contracts and we're going to try it again. Just looking at LeBron's face last night, that was his face in Cleveland. I mean, that was, I'm out here by myself, and this has to change.
Dude, he kind of was. That was pretty bad. Wade looks really bad. Well, I'm just going to say it, man. Wade is, he needs to retire. Like, I just feel like he needs to retire. I'm sorry. Like, he's going to be one of those guys who stays too long and fizzles out really fast and really hard, similar to how, like, Allen Iverson did. I just don't want to see Dwayne Wade do that.
Yeah.
I would like to see him retire now. Or maybe go one more year with super extended rest.
Yeah, that would have to be the case. And I saw a thing, words online I saw, that basically had a possible lineup where Wade was coming off the bench. And that actually intrigued me, because then you can give him the Manu Ginobili treatment, plus that allows him to play staggered minutes, where he actually is the primary scorer, and you're not looking at him to be anything else but, a one-on-one guy. And maybe they bring in our boy Gordon Hayward, and you start him with, Cole, LeBron, Bosh, and whoever, and then Wade comes off the bench. That's a Heat team I like a lot more, if they all have to stay.
All right, I can see that, but I don't see him being as effective as Ginobili. And I definitely don't see him going right down the lane and jamming in Chris Bosh's face like Manu Ginobili did last night. That was awesome.
Yeah,
I jumped out of my seat on that. See a good old-fashioned Manu Ginobili, right? That like vintage Manu Ginobili.
Yeah, I was sitting alone watching the game, and I literally turned to the side, and I was like, did that man with the bald spot just dunk? And then I was like, did I just talk to no one to my right?
Like you turned, like
like I literally turned. I was like, this would be hilarious if someone was here to witness that.
But I guess that's a realistic thing, or I mean, it's actually I don't know if it's realistic. It's smart. It's smart basketball to bring him off the bench. Of course, he would have to agree with that, but you still have to fill all those holes. Everybody is coming off the books. There's not a single person under contract. Udonis Haslem has a player option. Chris Anderson and Norris Cole. Anderson is he opted out, but it's basically Norris Cole. He's the only role player, so they have to replace everybody. Ray Allen, do you think a good chance he retires?
I don't think he needs to.
I don't think he does either. He looks good.
He looked all right. Yeah.
Like no chance that Mario Chalmers comes back, in my opinion.
No. It's almost too much. It's so like because there's no one on the team. It's too hard to speculate what'll happen. We have no idea.
Yeah. The problem is too, all these guys that are coming off the books are all like $2 million contracts. Like their role players don't make anything, so it's really hard for them to be replaced.
And even if the big three all re-upped, their contracts are escalating to meet the cap. So it's not like they'd have more flexibility. They'd still have the same problem where you'd have to be convincing veteran guys to come in and play for cheap. And I that doesn't seem sustainable.
That's true, especially as they're not invincible anymore.
Yeah, they certainly can't keep playing their frenetic defense. They're just too slow and old to keep that up. And that's why you were seeing so many wide open Patty Mills 3-point shots. Because they can't rotate that fast anymore.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll just see, I guess. We'll keep you guys updated because I'm sure we'll be talking about it all offseason. Anything else on the Heat or Spurs?
I don't think so. I guess just an overall congrats to the Spurs, capping off a great NBA season.
I'm sure that they'll all listen to this, so hey, good job, guys. You did good.
Yeah. Good job, guys.
So I guess let's do some quick hits.
Sure. The first story to kind of talk about is the FIFA World Cup started since our last podcast. There's been a couple of upsets. I try and watch like a game a day. I can't really watch any more soccer than that, especially if I don't care about the teams. But I watched the Netherlands beat Spain, which I was super excited about. The Swiss pulled off an upset, and today Germany beat Portugal, which isn't an upset really, but they beat them 4-0. Yeah, which is huge, and that's the United States pool. So that's interesting that Portugal might be that vulnerable.
That's a good sign for us. Our first game is today because come in about an hour here. Ghana's knocked us out the past 2 years, so hopefully that's a little extra bit of encouragement for us to play well. Yeah,
a little motivation there, and then if nothing else, we have to play Portugal and Germany after that. So let's get this one.
Another thing that happened was the Kings won the cup. Hockey season is now over. I watched exactly 0 seconds of the NHL playoffs, so I really have nothing to say about it other than congrats to LA.
Yeah,
I guess
every game was in overtime. That's something.
All playoff hockey games go to overtime, and most of them go to second overtimes. So I guess I shouldn't knock hockey. The playoff hockey is some of the best sports out there. Just with they're so frenetic when they're out there.
Yeah. It's just unfortunate that it falls during the NBA playoffs.
That's really what it is, honestly.
Which I care about a lot more. If it was happening right now, I would watch it over baseball.
Definitely. Definitely. They should. Unfortunately, hockey has to play in the winter as they play on giant slabs of ice. But if they could play in the summer, I would watch it over baseball. But sorry, LeBron James was playing Tim Duncan in the finals. What do you want from me? Another thing that's happened is it really, really sounds like Melo is going to leave the Knicks. Basically, every time he talks about it, it basically sounds like he's leaving and he just doesn't want to say it. He feels bad. The Phil Jackson signings as I kind of thought had no bearing on his decision.
No.
And why should it? Phil Jackson has been out of the game for 4 or 5 years now. He's in his 70s. Of course, he's accomplished a million things in his career, but this isn't playing and this isn't coaching. It's a whole new thing.
Well, I mean, unless Phil Jackson can, organize the assassination of Amari Stoudemire and Andres Bargnani, he can't do anything to help the team for another 2 years. So I think Melo sees that. He sees that he's reaching his, I don't want to say, I mean, he's kind of peaked, This is it. He's plateaued.
He's not going to get any better. I think we can agree on.
Right. And he hasn't really even come close to doing any damage in the playoffs in his career. So I think he's out.
Yeah. Didn't they sign Derek Fisher as their coach?
Yeah.
D Fish is now coaching. And I don't know if that's worse for the Knicks or better for the Thunder. Like, they don't have to deal with Fisher anymore. But we'll see where Melo goes, because that's going to be a big off-season storyline here.
Yep. Once that starts rolling, that'll probably be the biggest off-season story in the NBA outside of the draft.
Yeah.
And then finally, the Game of Thrones, little pop culture for you. Game of Thrones finished last night, episode 10. I thought, now Chris hasn't seen it yet, I thought it was a fantastic season in general. The whole season was great.
I agree. This was my favorite.
I think season 3 was the worst of the 4, so season 4 has maybe just felt so much better because of that. But so much happened. This final episode felt like it was an episode 9 of the other seasons, which if you follow the show, that means crazy stuff went down. Just a lot of action. It wasn't your normal kind of cool down episode 10. So, great season. Looking forward to next year.
Yeah, sorry Drew can't be more specific, because basically I'm just being selfish and I don't want him to ruin it for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it tonight. I missed it because I was watching the whole game. But yeah. So, our top 5 for the week is in honor of the NBA season finishing. We have the top 5 things to look forward to this NBA offseason. So, number 5, we have who's going to coach the Cavs. They have not signed a coach yet, but whoever they sign is really going to be put in the best situation you could imagine. You're going to have Kyrie Irving, Deion Waiters, who I think is good. He might be gone, but he's still a young piece. You're going to have the first overall pick. You still have the first overall pick in last year, even though Anthony Bennett didn't play well as a rookie. His career isn't over. I mean, the guy's still going to get better.
Yeah.
And they'll have cap space. So basically, you're getting signed to a team that has 3 first overall picks on the roster, or will have on the roster. And realistically, probably, 2 years before you have to legitimately contend? So,
well, it kind of depends. I mean, Mike Brown got fired after a year.
Oh, so the reason I'm saying he has 2 years is because the Cavs are already paying 2 coaches to not coach them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Mike Brown and who was the second one? I forgot.
Was it the guy who coached the New Orleans? Byron Scott?
Yes, yeah. It was
That's
Byron Scott. Yeah, Byron Scott and Mike Brown are both still under contract. So there's no way on earth that they fire another coach and keep paying him too.
Yeah, I think they're going to hire Shane Battier. Follow the trend of players turning coaches immediately.
After that, though, you got Kevin Love. What's going to happen to him? A lot of people think he's going to get traded. I think that would be the smart move for Minnesota. He's not going to come back. I'm sorry, Drew.
Yeah, so he won't get traded if that's the smart move.
Number 3, what do the Heat, Thunder, and Spurs do this offseason? We kind of already talked about the Heat and Spurs, possible things that could happen. I'm not really ready to talk about what the Thunder are going to do because I haven't really researched their books or anything like that. But they need to make moves. There's nothing. They either need to make moves or they need to just trust that a couple freak injuries have really hurt their chances of winning. With Westbrook 2 years ago and Ibaka this year.
Right, that's entirely possible too.
Yeah, that it is possible. I would like to see them do something though. Number 2, who's going to overpay for Lance Stevenson, Gordon Hayward, and Chandler Parsons? Because those are probably 3 dudes that are very likely to get a big paycheck and possibly not succeed as much as where they are right now.
Yep.
Patty Mills, you could maybe throw him on that list too, as we said earlier. So we'll see where those guys go. Personally, I think Lance Stevenson will stay. I think Gordon Hayward and Chandler Parsons are going to change teams because I think the Rockets will do something to replace Parsons, like something big. And then number 1 is, where's Carmelo Anthony going to go? As we kind of mentioned, he's leaving the Knicks. We'll see where he's going to go. A lot of teams out there. The Bulls are a big, another team that's very possible. I would love to see him go to the Bulls just because I like the Bulls.
Yeah, the headline I saw was Bulls and Houston are his top 2 choices.
Yeah.
I also saw an article saying that Dirk would appreciate his talent in Dallas, which would be interesting.
I don't know why
but
that's
it's not.
Why is that like a headline? Who wouldn't say that?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like they're going to go to somebody's like, hey, do you think Carmelo would be good on this team? Nah. Nope. We're good.
Anyone
like
but Denver would say that.
Like Inez Cantor's like, nah, we're all right over here. We don't need a perennial all-star. But, yeah, that's our top 5 for the week. That's everything.
All right. Oh, damn it. We forgot about Dick Chaney.
Again? Oh, my God. Dude, we're not going to keep getting celebrities if we keep forgetting to talk to them at the end. We could do it, but Drew's got to get to class. He's got to go. I would like to watch the U.S. soccer game. That's, I had a surprise lined up for you too, Drew. I wasn't going to tell you. Dick Chaney was actually going to drop a diss track that he prepared on this podcast. It was in response to what Eminem said in Without Me. I know that song came out 12 years ago, but Dick has a very hard time letting things go. So.
I see. All right. What's a shame. We'll try and reschedule. I don't know how busy a guy is, but yeah, hopefully he's not pissed.
Can't be that busy. He's not vice president anymore.
All right. Well,
not meant to be a diss, but sorry, Dick.
Yeah, sorry, Dick. Injury to insult, or whatever you say. So that was the show this week. Thanks for tuning in. Next week, Chris will be off on vacation, and I will probably have maybe an NBA draft preview lined up for you, unless Carmelo does something crazy or, I don't know, anything else happens in the world. We're going to leave you with a song from one of my favorite up-and-coming rappers that I'm sure you've all heard of by now. He's not really surprised anymore. Chance the Rapper out of Chicago. The song is called Chain Smoker, and see you next week.
See ya.
If this was my last shit, it'd have to be mad important.
Chain smoking, name dropping, go
That sound like a Prince song.
motherfucking, mother shut your mouth. Still a chain smoking, name dropping, go looking, motherfucking, mother shut your mouth. Brain broken, Frank Ocean listen, stay here inside and wood grain gripping, dripping, mother shut your mouth. Somebody pray for the guy, oh Lord, I wonder what Michael's on. Sun jamming, new and share, rapping, trapping, tripping, sitting, slipping, gluing, chewing, Michael done. Should've died, yelling, YOLO was a lion, you a lion, wonder why you wanna die so young. You and I look just alike, and I'm afraid that this one right here might be less than that I write a song. Lot of niggas wanna go out with a bang, but I ain't tryna go out the door. So I ain't tryna go out the door, got a lot of ideas to throw out the door. Last chance joint, gotta be a dance joint from an introspective, drugged out standpoint. Throw bands joint, wanna hold hands joint. Old school for my own old man joint. Still a chain smoking, name dropping, good looking, motherfucking, mother shut your mouth. Rain broken, Frank Ocean listening, stay inside and wood grain gripping, pain tripping, mother shut your mouth. This part right here, right now, right here, this part my shit. I play this so loud in the car, I forget to park my whip. I lean back and spark my shit. I turn up, I talk my shit. Hope you love all of my shit. I hope you love all of my shit. Why toss my filter when she say my life? The same shit that kill us always stay so right. So I pray to the dealer. God know who he be. Truth be told, he drews me, introduced me to the Lucy Lee. broken, motherfucking mother, shut your mouth. Brain broken, frame ocean, listening, stay. Satin wood grain, gripping, pain, driven, mother, shut your mouth.